Hi guys, welcome to my latest video. Today, this review is going to be on the newly released movie, The Outpost. The Outpost follows a small group of US soldiers fighting against the Taliban in Afghanistan, and this whole movie is based off true life events. But now, without further ado, I'll get into my actual review. So I'm a big fan of the cinematography in this movie. Within the last few months, we've seen different types of cinematography that we haven't seen too much of. Most noticeably, 1917, where it all had this like one-shot kind of style of telling its story. This one at times follows that, obviously has some changes. Like some of the shots where it focuses on one certain soldier and then without having to cut to another soldier who's on the other side of the camp. It's as though you are flying through the actual events throughout this fight, because that's what you see in the camera. It kind of soars through the camp, dodging the other attacks, and you end up seeing what this other character is up to. And stuff like that feels very real. It really makes the audience feel like they are part of this fight, or they're in the middle of it, which I think is very powerful. And for me, that is the best thing about this movie. Some of the explosions as well, or when the soldiers are getting peppered by the Taliban, all of that seems really well done. Really builds the tension as well, because you feel like if they peek for 1 second, their life could end. So you could really feel the risk and the pressure, the tension, whatever you want to call it. Thanks to these warlike effects used, whether that was CGI with some of the explosions, or if it was real. I'm not aware if the explosions were CGI or practical. I think they might have been a mix of both, but all of it was very well done. Now, going through this movie, I found, there isn't too much action as I thought there would be. There's a lot of dialogue, but then there's like the last 40 minutes is just straight action. So I think it balances that well. It's like one half is a lot of dialogue heavy. The second half is filled with a lot of action. And some might say, can't they just like intertwine it so it goes dialogue, action, so dialogue, action. But I think I like this method. I think it's a good mix, and it feels like you can finally sit back and relax and enjoy that last 40 minutes or so without having to focus too much on what they're actually saying. There is some solid acting, as you hope to see from a war film, with all the relationships with all the soldiers. One who stood out for me was Caleb Landry Jones. He gave a very powerful performance. You could really see he felt a bit messed up from what happens throughout this movie. And yeah, I'm not sure if I've seen him in anything else, but this was a very good performance from him. Now, moving on to the cons, there is one thing that I noticed a lot, and that something was obviously they're fighting the Taliban, but for large portions of this movie you didn't buy the sense that they were actually under attack from anyone in particular. It doesn't really show who's actually shooting at them. It shows it from there. The camera's constantly on them. There is like, I think, 2 shots where you see like 2 camera shots, not bam shots. There's 2 shots within a scene where he's scoped in on a Taliban sniper, and then there's also one where 3 come into the camp but then get immediately killed. But yeah, you don't actually see who's fighting them. You don't buy it as such. That's where you can kind of tell it is a movie. Where movies like 1917, Dunkirk, you fully feel you're living in it and you're constantly looking out for threats. I know that kind of contradicts what I said in the pros, but I feel this is so entirely different. Like, you could sense the bullets flying in, but it felt like it wasn't the Taliban behind it. It just felt like some God knows what. That's where this kind of pulls me down a bit on it, because it didn't feel like real people were actually engaging in a fight with them. And now I'm very much aware that in the army there is a lot of back talk, there is a lot of rudeness from all the different soldiers. Some of the dialogue literally felt like a teenager who had learned some new bad words or meanings to words. Some bits, yeah, alright, it can be like that in the war, but some bits were just so immature, and it went on for quite some time. As it is a true story, I don't know how accurate it is to the actual story that happened. I'm not sure that all of this would have played out. If so, I'm wrong. I apologize, but for me, the dialogue in that sense where it was all these digs at people, it just felt over the top. So overall for me, The Outpost was a fine war movie. It hasn't really changed the scene for me, hasn't changed how I look upon war films. There's many better ones out there. There's 1917, Dunkirk, Saving Private Ryan, or one of my personal favorites, Hacksaw Ridge. But yeah, this is just a fine one. It's not going to change your life. In terms of watching, if you're interested in what it was kind of like around there, sure, give it a watch. But if you're just going for some full-out war entertainment, you can skip this one. It won't impact you at all. I'll give it the good old average score of a 6 out of 10. And yeah, like I said, depending on who you are, you can skip this one. Thank you for watching this video. If you're new around here, I'd really appreciate if you would like and subscribe. Please, whoever's watching this, let me know in the comments what you thought of The Outpost if you have seen it. It will be interesting to see what other people think about it and not just my own opinion. Please let me know in the comments also how I could improve my videos, as I'm constantly looking to improve my videos and my content. So yeah, please let me know in the comments how to do that. If you're watching, thank you for watching, and hopefully I'll see you in my next video.